Okay, good morning, everyone. As usual, how did the homework go? Do you have any questions from the homework? Please put them on chat. Any questions? Okay. Let us a little bit see what we did last time and how we're going to move forward this time. So last time we did the following. In a right triangle, it means in a triangle with a 90-degree angle. What we had was the following. Please put your camera on. I will appreciate it. What we have is the following. If you have a right triangle, it means a triangle with a 90-degree angle. Then we had this relationship between the side, which was Pythagorean theorem. C squared is a squared plus b squared. And this holds only in a right triangle. Then we saw that in a right triangle, the sine and the cosine, their definition was the sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse, and this is crucial. This is right triangle. The word right is important here. This does not extend to any other type of triangle. And the cosine is, let's see, is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And then we define the tangent, which is always the sine over the cosine, but in the context of a right triangle, it becomes the opposite over adjacent. Okay. And that's what we did last time. That's what we've talked about it, mainly what happened in the right triangle. And we took like several problems that I will give you two sides. We use Pythagorean to find the third. I give you two sides, we found the angle. So with some info about sides or angle, we were able to find every other information about triangle. What we're going to do today is we're going to extend that to non-right triangle. So section, whatever this is 8.2, is non-right triangle. It means triangle where we don't have a 90-degree angle. So that's section 8.2. So non-right triangle, that means that I don't have this nice scenario right here. So everything falls apart. Nothing works in this scenario. It means this property will not hold. The definition of sine and cosine will not hold. So let's see what's going to happen here. So I have a non-right triangle. It means a triangle, any triangle, but there is no 90-degree angle. Suppose we have the following triangle. I'm going to call this angle A, this angle B, and this angle, we're going to call it C. I'm using the notation of the book for you to be comfortable. And then I'm going to call this little c, I'm going to call this is A, and I'm going to call this one B. So the way we're going to do it is that the side opposite the angle B, I'm going to call it little b. The side opposite the angle A, I call it little a. The side opposite the angle C, I'm going to call it little c. So now the scenario here is the following. Let us say, what's the relationship between the side A, B, and C? In a right triangle, we can use Pythagorean theorem to find the relationship. When we have a triangle, which is not right, the picture you see, Pythagorean does not apply. So what's the corresponding to that for any triangle? So that is the following law that we're going to write and we're going to work with, the law of cosine. Okay, and that's for, I repeat several times, for a non-right triangle. And the idea is that, okay, what's the relationship between the side if we don't have a nice triangle? All right. The law of cosine tells me the following. It's kind of sound a little bit bizarre at the beginning, but then we're going to work it. It tells me that a square equal. So a square is equal to b squared plus c squared minus. So it's not Pythagorean anymore. Minus 2 times BC times cosine of the angle A. Okay, so there is Pythagorean do not apply, and then this will be what corresponds to that. Okay, please put your camera on for those who don't have it. Okay, so this A is the side which is opposite to this angle. That's to help us really kind of understand it. Okay, and then B and C are the other two sides. Now, another version of law of cosine, that's not really the only version, I can rewrite it the following. Suppose I want the side B squared, so I'll write all the version, then we work with them. Suppose I want B squared. The law of cosine will apply as follows. It's going to be equal. The sum of the square of the other two sides plus A squared minus 2 times A times C times cosine of the angle opposite to B. So if I want B, for example, I have the angle, so it's A squared plus B squared minus 2 times AC times the cosine of B. And so by symmetry, if I want C squared, so it's very different from Pythagorean in a way. So if I want C squared and I have the angle C, then the formula will become, you can tell me what the formula becomes. So you guys see the pattern. Who feel comfortable, tell me the formula. How is the pattern and how it works? If I want C squared, the pattern will be, it's A squared plus B squared minus 2 times AB times cosine of the angle which is opposite to C. So this should be the angle capital C. Okay, so that's the law of cosine. This is what actually corresponds to the Pythagorean for a non-right triangle. The Pythagorean work only in right triangle, and this will be the picture for that. Okay. Now this theorem, those formulas, I want you to keep them in front of you, and you're going to work with them at the beginning. Okay, so please get your calculator because you guys are going to help me with that. So my first problem is the following. A verbatim application to that. I'm going to draw a triangle, and the question is, I want to find a bunch of the sides to see how to apply it. So question number 1 is the following. I will consider the following triangle. I will draw it. I'm going to draw it by hand. So I want an angle here. So suppose this angle is 130 degrees. That's my angle. And this I have 2. The length is 2 here. The length is 4 here. And then I have my triangle. Okay, so that's a triangle I'm going to work with. So example number 1. And let me give it a name. For example, I'm going to call this A, which is this angle. I'm going to call this B, for example. Capital B, and this is capital C. All right, so question number 1 is, find A. Okay, so I gave you the side, I gave you C, and I gave you the angle in between. So let's be very precise. I gave you this side, and the angle in between. And the question is, I want you to find A using the law of cosine verbatim. So I'm going to write the law of cosine for this situation, and we are going to do it. So I will call this little c, and this is, no, this has to be little b, and this little c. And let us see what we get. All right. The law of cosine tells me a squared is b squared plus c squared minus 2b times c times cosine of the angle which is opposite to the side A. That's how we use it. So now I have everything, and I need to find the A. So B is 4 squared plus C is 2 2 square minus 2 times the b, which is a 4, times c, which is a 2, times the cosine of the angle in between. So that will give me a square. Okay, so I have a bunch of info, and I'm going to use the law of cosine to be able to find the third side. So this is equal to, this is equal to 4 squared is 16 plus 4 minus 2 times 4, 8. 8 times 2, it's 16 times the cosine of 130. Now cosine of 130, this is, we have definitely to use our calculator a lot in those problems. So I go back to, first I have to make sure my calculator is in the right mode. So it's in degree mode. And then I need the cosine of 130, which is minus 0.6427. So times minus 0.6427. And now we have basically to evaluate a square. So a square will be equal, that's it, 20 plus minus minus. So I multiply 16 by that. I will get 10.284. It means a square is 30.284. It means the side A is the square root of that. It means the side A is almost equal. So I'm doing this problem. So it's the square root of 30.284, which is going to give me 5.503, 3 decimal places. Okay, so that's how we apply this law verbatim. So I have some information about the triangle, and the question is how we're going to find the other information, right? Question number 2. This is my triangle here. I use the law of cosine to find the sides, and this turned out to be 5.503. So now I was able to find this side. Now, suppose I want to find the angle B. So question number 2 is find the angle B. And let's see how we're going to find it. So find the angle B. And the question is, again, use the law of cosine. Okay. So how I'm going to find the angle B using the law of cosine. Remember, this is not a right triangle, so I cannot really use anything about the cosine to be opposite or adjacent over hypotenuse. I cannot use that. So this is my triangle now. I draw it back here. So this is my A, which is 130. This is the angle B I want you to find. This is 4. And this is C, which is a 2. And this is C, the angle C. And this one, the one we found, which is almost 5.503. So that's the picture we have. And now my question is, you have this triangle. Can you find the angle B? Using the law of cosine. All right. So let's see how we are going to find the angle B. Again, I will do this problem myself, and then I will let you guys practice on another one. Okay. To find B, somehow I need the equation that involves the angle B. So I say, okay, the law of cosine, how can I bring the angle B to the picture? Who can have any input? How can I bring the angle B to the picture? Because I really need to find it. How can I do that? Anybody have any idea? And please put your camera on. I told you several times. So how can I use this law to bring up the angle B? Okay, we're going to use it the following way. I'm going to say, the law built a relationship. This is the law here. This law builds a relationship between the cosine of the angle and the sides. So basically, if I have all the sides, I can find the cosine of the angle. If I know the cosine, it means I will be able to find the angle. So the way we're going to do that is like this. We're going to say, okay, I know all the sides in this problem. I'm going to use it to find the angle B. So which version we're going to use? We're going to use the following version because I want B. So I'm going to put B squared equal A squared. So you see, we used this in different version. A squared plus C squared minus 2 AC cosine of B. Okay. And then I have every piece. I have a B, I have the A, I have the C. And now the problem with B, I want to isolate the cosine and then find the angle. So that's exactly what we are going to do. So what is my B? My B is 4 squared equal. My A is 5.503 squared plus my C is 2 squared minus 2 times A is 5.503 times the C, which is a 2, times the cosine of B. My goal is to isolate this term so I can solve for B. So let's do that. 4 squared is 16 equal 5.503 squared. So we're gonna do all this using our calculator. So I will get 5.503 squared, which is gonna be 30.28 plus 4 minus. I have to multiply those by each other so I can isolate the cosine. I will have 2 times 2. It's a 4. I'm going to multiply this by 5.503. And then this would give me, so this expression here is 22.012 multiplied by the cosine of B. That's the term I need to isolate all along. Now, how can I isolate that term? So to isolate the cosine, so let us do a little bit of simplification. I add those two terms, I get 34.28 minus this times the cosine of B. I keep putting it into a square to remind you that's the one I'm going to go after. Now, how to isolate the cosine? I need to subtract 34 from both sides. So subtract 34.28 from both sides. I will get 16 minus equal minus 22.012 times the cosine of B. So it looks like a lot, but that's all right. Now we do the math. 16 minus this, so that's a 16, minus 34.28. I will get minus 18.28 equal minus 22 times the cosine of B. Now I need to solve for the cosine. So I divide by 22, both sides. Like that, okay? And I use my calculator to find the cosine. So I'm going to divide this by 22.012, and this gives me 0.8304. So this will give me the cosine of my angle. Now my goal is to find the angle. So what's going to be the B? I know the cosine. Now I need the angle. What's going to be the B? So the B is going to be the cosine inverse of 0.8304. So it's a little bit of a long process, but it's not a hard process. So let us find the B now. So I have to compute the cosine inverse of my answer. So I'm getting, sorry, I need the cosine inverse of 0.8304, and I'm getting 33.86. All right, so that's how we're gonna use this to be able to find the angle. So now I go back to my picture here. This is my B here. This is going to be 33.86. All right, so we're finding the triangle using some concept, some of what we have to find the rest. Now, what about C? Do we know what C is? I'm going to start picking student in class and ask you questions. Okay.
Can you take the angles that we found and subtract them from 180?
Exactly. See, I don't need to do any work anymore. The sum of angles in a triangle is equal 180. So if you take any triangle, you add the angles and you add them up, you should get 180. So now to get C, which is going to be my last problem, so find C, what's C equal to? I'm going to take 180 and subtract from it the ones I have, which is 130 plus 32.86. I have to take that away. And then, so first I add those. It means I need 180 minus. If I add those, I will get 166.86. So finally, I need 180 minus 166.86, and this will give me 13.14 degrees. And this way, I'll find my angle C. Okay, so it's a bit of a long process, but it's not a hard process. So it's going to be 180. I add those two. They give me 166. I take 180 from them. I get the 13.14. Okay, all right, now I want you guys to do the problem because otherwise you will not learn. So I'm going to take another triangle and I will ask you to do the same thing. So I'm going to take another triangle. For example, number 2. Okay. I'm going to take the following. I'm going to do 2 examples. So suppose I'm going to take, let us say I'm going to take this to be, let us say 50 degrees. I'm going to take that. And I'm going to take this to be like a 4. I'm going to take this to be 6. And my question to you is find the missing side. So I'm going to call this X. Find the missing side. So I want you to set it up correctly to find the side, and I want the answer. You guys have 2 minutes to do it, then I'm going to pick one of you, and I want the answer. Please get going. Put the law in front of you clearly and see how you're going to apply it. Please get going. You have 2 minutes to do this problem. It's simple because while you're doing it, I'll do it myself. So whenever you guys find the answer, please put it on chat. Okay, I want answers on chat. Some of you should be done. Okay, I'm getting 1. Anybody else? I don't know if she's right or not. So I want somebody to tell me whether she's right or he's right or not. Okay, I'm getting another one very similar. Very good. So we're all getting very similar answers. So let us do the setup. I will pick somebody who's not answered to do the setup. Rebecca Zeman, are you with me? Rebecca. Okay, I move on if the student is not there. I'll mark it down though. Phoenix or Rosa, are you with me? Oh, sorry, Rebecca, I'm sorry. Okay, can you tell us what's the setup? Do you have a microphone or anything? Okay. Phoenix, can you help us with the setup?
Okay. So I set it up like A equals 4 squared plus 6 squared.
What is A? What's B in the picture?
Oh, B in the picture is 4.
That's B. Okay.
And then C is 6.
C is 6.
And then
All
I
right.
set it up. Okay.
Okay. I will write verbatim what you said.
A equals 4 squared plus 6 squared.
What's A now?
X.
Okay. Equal 4 squared
Plus 6 squared.
plus 6 squared.
Minus 2 in parentheses 4. And then a 6 in parentheses. Cos A or cos X.
Cosine.
Yes, I know.
Don't use cos, okay? Cosine. Do it correctly. Very good. All right, that's the setup. So it's going to be equal to 16, right? Minus 2 times 4, 24. Sorry. 4 times 6, 24. 24 times 2. That's going to give me 48 cosine of 50. So that's give me x squared. So x squared equal, that's give me a 42 minus 48 times, now the cosine of 50, I just have to pick it up from a calculator. And that's my cosine of 50, which is, unless I'm goofing, I'm getting that. And now we just enter x squared and we'll see if your classmate got it right. So it's 42 minus 48 times 0.642. So I'm getting 21.146. So x is the square root of that. It means x is, and you guys are absolutely correct, x is 4.67. Sorry, x is 4.59. I don't know where I got that from. 4.59, and the student who got the answer got it correctly. Okay. All right, problem number 2, again along the same line, but now I'm going to go after the angle. So problem number 2 is the following. Again, I will give you time to figure it out, and then we proceed. Okay. This time I'm going to give you the sides, A, B, C. I'm going to ask you about the angle. So let us say I have my triangle. This is C equal to 2. That's my A. And this is here, it says 6. And let me call it the A, little a here. That's my angle C. And this will be 5, for example. That's my B. And this angle, I'm going to call it B. Okay. And my question is, I'm going to pick an angle and I'm going to ask you to find it. So my question is, find the angle A. Okay, so that's my triangle. And find A. Again, I want you all to get started on it. It's going to take a little bit of time with you, but let's get going and then we proceed. Okay, so think about what's the proper setup to be able to find the angle A. If anybody find the answer, please put it on chat so I know what's going on. And then I'll pick one of you to tell me what they're doing. Okay. Okay, any answer so far? That's taking a little bit of time. All right, very nice, very nice. I'm having good answers. So I will pick one student, the one who did not give me an answer, to set it up for me. Okay, let me pick one. As I told you a million times, I forget who I pick. So don't worry about that. Clarissa Cornelio, are you with me? Please say yes or no. Clarissa, are you with me? Okay. I move on. Kathleen Crichton, are you with me? Kathleen? Okay. Right. Kishan Williams. I guess I'm picking the right student. Williams. Okay.
No,
I
I'm
usually.
lost.
What?
I'm lost.
Are you with me?
No.
What's your answer? Are you trying to do the problem or not?
Yeah, I tried to do it, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, very good. So we're gonna find this angle, right? Now what am I giving you? I'm giving you the side A, B, and C. And we are gonna use this new law that I've talked about it. So this is what's given to me. And this is the piece that is missing. So let me choose the law that will really help me. So in this picture, that's the law that you have to put in front of you to be able to deal with it. I'm giving you the A, this side. I'm giving you the C. I'm giving you the B. That's what I'm giving you. And I'm going to ask you about the angle A, okay, which is the opposite to the side little a. So the way we're going to set it up is we're going to say A squared, which is this one, is B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of this angle. So that's the piece, that's the way, the version we're going to use, because I need the side, the angle opposite to A. So I want to use A squared equal to that. So what does mean in our context? In the context mean, go ahead.
So would it be 6 squared equal 5 squared plus 2 squared?
not only that. Look at the law. Did you write it in front of you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Then what does it say? Minus what?
Minus 2, parentheses, 5, and then you times that by 2,
Right? Times what?
and then cosine A.
Right. What is the missing piece? What is it I want now to be able to solve for?
Cosine
Are you with me now?
A. Yeah.
Okay, now let us proceed. 6 squared is
36,
5 squared,
25,
2 squared,
4,
minus. Let's multiply those by each other. 2 times 5, 10 times 2, 20, cosine A. And that's the cosine that I need, basically, that's the cosine of A that I need actually to solve for. Okay, I want to isolate. So how I'm going to isolate it?
you would combine the like terms, and you would get 36 equal 9 cosine A.
Uh-oh, no. I think I know what your mistake is. This 20 is multiplied by the cosine. So you cannot combine this with that because this is here multiplication.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's 29 minus 20, which is multiplied by the cosine of A. Do you understand what your mistake is?
Yeah, I see what I did.
Yeah, which is, that's okay. But that's
I did that same mistake.
I know. It shouldn't do it a lot. That's why I want you guys to talk, because when I do it correctly, you don't know what your mistake is. That's why I want you to help me with that. Very good.
Okay.
Now what do you do? Please keep going.
So we would subtract 29, right?
Right, subtract 29. So what will give me?
You will get 7 equal negative 20 cosine A.
No, I don't get 7. Yeah, sorry, my apology. Okay, cosine of A. And this, I'm always putting it here in red because I want you to, I'm emphasizing what's going on. So now what's the cosine of A?
What? Divide by negative 20. I'm gonna
Yeah,
guess.
so it get minus 7 over 20. Okay?
So we don't have to simplify it like any more than that.
Yeah, I need A. That's the cosine. I need the angle.
I don't have my calculator, so I don't know.
Okay, what you should have your calculator in this class. It doesn't work otherwise. Okay, you can't because you don't know what A. So what A is. Now, before I ask you what A is, in which quadrant A should be? If the cosine is negative, what do you expect A to be? In which quadrant? 1 or 2?
2.
2. So A should be more than 90 degrees. A should be somewhere in here because that's negative. So it could be, at least we should know that it's going to be more than 90 degrees. But how do we get it? A is the cosine inverse. That's the arc sine, because that's what the cosine inverse is, the angle whose cosine is minus 20. So the cosine inverse of minus 20. And now I go verbatim to what your classmate gave me, which is they picked up the number calculator 110.49. And it makes sense because the cosine is negative. It means A is in second quadrant. So always ask yourself, what is my A? A is in the second quadrant. And it means it has to be more than 90 degrees. And your answer is 110, which makes sense. And I need only, since I'm working in a triangle, so my angles only are between 0 and 180. So I don't take care. I know that there is another angle whose cosine is minus 7 over 20, but I'm only interested in angles between 0 and 180 because I'm working within a triangle. All right, so now I want you to find B, and then we move to something else. So find B. Okay, all of you, that's the picture. And again, I'll give you 2 minutes to do that because this is just plugging in, and then we proceed. So 2 minutes to find B, and you guys give me the answer. Okay, as usual, put your answer on chat to see if you guys are getting it correct, yes or not. Anyone? Okay, I'm starting to get answers. All right, anybody agree with them? Okay, so I will pick one to tell me what they are doing, as I said, I pick you and I forget who I picked. So Lucas P, are you with me?
Not really sure how to find B, to be honest.
Okay, so let's do exactly what I did with your classmate verbatim before, and let's do the setup and you help me with it. So what do I want? I want the angle B. Okay? And how I'm going to use the law of cosine to be able to find the angle B.
When you put like B squared is equal to A squared.
B squared equal.
And A squared, right?
Repeat, I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
A squared, right?
A squared.
And plus C squared.
Yeah, the other two sides.
Okay, and then was it minus 2AC
Times?
Cosine B?
Yeah, cosine of the angle opposite to that. That's what helped you memorize it. And what I am after is B. So now this formula will allow me to find the cosine and then I go after B. Now keep going, fill out the details.
So B squared would be 10.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, 25, I'm sorry. And then A squared, so it'll be 36. And then C squared is 4. And minus 2A, so that'll be 6. And then C is 2. And then cosine B.
That's my unknown.
Yeah.
Focus on your unknown. That's my unknown. All right, then what do you do? Keep going.
Don't you add 36 and 4?
Yeah, which gonna give me
40.
minus.
Then you multiply those by, so it'll be 12, then 24. Right.
Again, I'm putting it in red on purpose because that's really my unknown, and then keep going. So I'm having.
Then don't you subtract 40?
Right, it's gonna
On
give
both
me how
sides.
much?
Second.
25 minus 40, that's negative 15, that's all right.
Negative 15.
Minus cosine B, so what's the cosine of B?
Then do you divide here?
We divide because you wanna
Right.
isolate it, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal, isolate the cosine, isolate this piece. So it's minus 15 divided by negative 24, which is a positive number, right?
Which would be, this could be far away, maybe.
Okay, and then we find B. So question number one before you find the B. Is B is gonna be more than 90 or less than 90? How are you gonna decide? That's a positive number, right?
Yeah.
If the cosine is positive, where is my angle?
Shouldn't it be 90 or within 90 and 0?
Repeat, I don't think I've understood.
I'm not sure. Would it be
Okay,
between
if the
90 and
cosine,
0?
yes, if the cosine is positive, it means my angle has to be in the first quadrant, because the cosine is always the x coordinate, which means it has to be between 0 and 90, which is going to be an acute angle versus an obtuse angle. Okay, but what's the b? So at least we should know, we should get an angle less than 90 in this case. What's the b? Did you find it?
When I type my calculator, it just gives me 5 over 8.
Okay, you have to have your calculator in this class. There is no way we can answer those questions without our calculator.
Yeah, when I type, I'm supposed to put cosine inverse.
It's cosine inverse of that, which is according to your classmate. I'm following what your classmates are giving me, 51.318. That's what they are giving me, which is a correct answer.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah. I thought I didn't. Yeah. I got it. Yeah.
All right. Finally, I want C, the angle C. So now I found A. A was 110.49. My B was 51.318. And now I need the angle C. But before that, is the angle C going to be more than 51 or less than 51?
Less.
Less, because you're right. What's really going on? It's going to be less because the side opposite to it is less than the side opposite to B. So it's going to be, the value of it is going to be less. So who can give me the angle C quickly? We don't need any math. We don't need, it's 18. So you're right. What is the angle C? All right. So to find the angle C, I know that the sum of the angles is 180. So it means I know that A plus B plus C is equal to 180 degrees. So that's 180 minus the sum of the other two angles. And then I will, hopefully you guys are right, 18.19, that's my angle C in degree. And that's what give me my angles. Okay.
I know you see me in your dreams. I know you see me on the TV.
All right. So that's how the law of cosine. It's a very useful law because it takes care of what to do with a triangle if we don't have a right triangle. So I cannot use Pythagorean. I cannot use sine is opposite over hypotenuse. I have this scenario, what to do. So this is half of the story. Now the other part. I'm going to ask you to do the following. And let's see if we can do it together. So I hope you have a piece of paper. I don't know if you do, or you should. I'm going to ask you the following. Sketch a triangle. Sketch means draw by yourself, a triangle. Such that the angle A is, let us say, 50 degrees. The angle B is 70. And little c, the length of C is equal to 5. And we're using the convention Okay, Samantha, you have a very good question. If I have a quiz, I will try to remember for how many decimals I want you to round. Okay, your question is actually very good. So I will be more precise about how many decimals you need to round. Thanks for the question. All right. So sketch a triangle such that A is 50, B is 70, C is 5. And we're using the convention that C is the side opposite to the angle C. So that's really my convention. This is not my triangle. That's always my convention. If this is A, this is A. If this is B, this is little b. And this is C, the angle C, this is little c. So it's the convention in the book. That's why I need to stick to it. All right, how can I draw sketch such a triangle? Is it easy or hard? easy. Okay, how can I do that? Can anybody speak up and tell me you plug in values? All right, so, but we have to plug in very easily. A is 50. So suppose I want this to be my angle A. So I'm gonna start like that. This is A, 50. So this is 90, 50. So we have to draw it. So this is my 50 angle. Okay. C is 5. It means I take my ruler basically. So that's my A. I take my ruler and I measure 5 units. And then I want B. So I'm trying to follow this picture. So I have my A, which is 50. Then IB is, I want it to be 70. So if this is 90, 70 is a little bit less. So I'm going to draw it to be my 70 here. That's my B. And then those two will meet somewhere right there. That's where they meet. That's my triangle. So I can really construct it. And we should all get the exact same triangle. If we construct it, regardless who did it, we should get the exact same triangle. It means the triangle will be, we can interpose them on each other and we get the same picture. So that's really my triangle. Very good. Now, suppose, so this is my A, according to my picture, and this is my B. Right? Now, suppose I tell you, find B. Can I use the law of cosine to find B? I want you to take the law of cosine, stare at it, and see what's the issue with that. Suppose I want to find B in this scenario. So this is my triangle. I want to find B. Can I use the law of cosine to find B? Now what's the problem? I want every one of you to think about it. You can't, because you need one more side to be able to use the law of cosine.
Isn't this just a common triangle? It's a 5, 6, 7.
No. Why? On what basis?
Because you have a 50 degrees, a 70 degrees, and your opposite side is 60 degrees.
No, the opposite side is not 50. Is it 50?
It's 60, 60.
660, yeah. So why
Oh,
is
no, a 5, 6, 7 triangle is based on a right triangle. Never mind. I apologize.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I knew that. So we have to be careful. It's not right triangle. That's the problem. That's why we're doing this. Yes. Even right triangle, 5, 6, 7 is not correct. Pythagorean will not hold. The one you're confused with is 3, 4, 5. Okay, so can I use the law of cosine? Back to every one of you, because you have to understand the picture.
You can use the law of cosines.
How? I want you to struggle with it. I'm not saying the answer. How can I use the law of cosine to find B?
You have to plug in. You already have the angles, so you just
Okay.
the equation and then you.
All right. So let's do it. If you want B squared, this should be equal to what? Let's write it down. So we have to be convinced. What's going to be B squared?
Right. B squared is equal to 70 degrees.
No, that's the angle B.
I mean,
What the law of cosine tells me?
B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC.
Very good. Minus 2AC times what? The cosine of the angle.
Right.
Very good. Now, how many pieces are missing?
Only
I
B.
know C, right?
Right.
I don't know A. I don't know A. I know the cosine. So how I'm going to find B? Are you with me? All of you. If I use the law of cosine, I'm stuck because the law of cosine requires me to know two sides. and the angle in between. So let us see the law of cosine.
Could you, I mean, you could still solve for B and then plug it back in, couldn't you?
But but what is A?
That's what I'm saying. You solve it all out till you get B, and then you would get B equals a summation of the cosine of B, and you would have A. And so you plug in A for B, and then you would get the value for A.
I still not getting how I'm gonna get A. I don't know A.
So 1 second, I'll do it on paper.
Yeah. I want you to understand why I need something else. Because if I follow, I will have A squared. I cannot touch this. C squared, I have it. A times 5 times the cosine of 70. So you guys don't write. I'm trying to see what's the issue. How many unknown do I still have? How many unknown do I still have? I still have A squared, and I don't know A squared. So how I'm going to find B if I don't have A squared? All right, the student who is working on a piece of paper, did you figure out what's going on?
No, I need more time.
What?
I said no, I need more time to figure
Okay.
to do my calculation on the paper.
But what calculation you're doing? That's really what I'm getting to.
I was, yeah.
Go ahead.
It's fine.
Go ahead. What you have to say? Because I want everybody to understand what you have to say.
I'm trying to solve for B without knowing A, so that way I can know the variable. So that way I can plug
That's
A.
the question. Is it possible? That's the problem.
Well, I haven't done it fully yet, but that's what I'm
Law
thinking.
of cosine. Let's watch carefully the law of cosine. It requires you to know two sides to be able to find the third. Law of cosine, to be able to use it, you need two sides and the angle in between. Otherwise, we cannot find the third. Regardless which version you take, you need two sides. If I use this version, to be able to find the third, I need the C, I need the A, and I need the angle in between. Without knowledge of C, A, the angle in between, I cannot use the law of cosine to find the third. All right? So in this case, find B. The law of cosine, the law of cosine will fail. Means I cannot find it. Because there is a reason. Because it requires, the law of it requires two sides and the angle in between. So if I want to find B, I need A, I need C, and I need the angle in between. I don't know A. So the law of cosine is going to fail totally in this situation. Okay, the student was trying to do the math. Did you get anywhere? So the idea is what to do in this case. So this is my triangle. I try to use this for a part because I don't know what A is, so I don't know how to use that because I still have this unknown here, which is A. So the question is, there is another law that, okay, we're gonna learn and will help me solve this problem. So the other law is called the law of sine. Okay, so it's another law that will find a relationship between the angles and the sine. And the law of sine tells me the following. So if this is your angle A, this is your angle B, this is your angle C, this is A, this is C, and this is B. Okay, the law of sine tells me that the ratio between the sine of A and the side opposite to it is a constant ratio in the following sense. The sine of A over A is equal to the sine of B over B. It's equal to the sine of C over C. So there are two laws, and we're going to be working with them today and next time. And the law of sine tells me that the ratio between, watch how it works, the sine of A, that's why I call the law of sine, divided by the side opposite is a constant. It means sine A over A is sine B over B is sine C over C. Okay, so now the question is, when the law of cosine fails, which is absolutely, I can't use it here because it requires two sides to be used. Now the law of sine is going to help me out. So let's see how we are going to use this law when I cannot use the previous one to do it. I'm going to go back up to my problem and see how we're going to use the law of sine. So now example. So I'm going to take this triangle, the one we drew together. So this is my triangle. This is my C, which is the 5. And this is my A, which is the 50. And this is my 70. So this is 90 degrees. 70 is a little bit less. So this is my 70. And of course, this is 60 because, as your classmate said, and this is my B and this is my C. And now we're going to use the law of sine to be able to find the B. So what does the law of sine tell me? It tells me that the ratio between the angle and the side is constant. So how I'm going to apply it to find the B? Let's see how we're going to apply it to find the B. I'm going to apply it as this. I will do the first problem myself. I need B. That's what I need. That's really my unknown. So I'm going to say the law of sine tells me the following. I know C. I know the side opposite to it. So I'm going to say, so let me call this is C, and this is A, and this is B. I know C, and I know the sine opposite. So it tells me sine C over little c. This is, I have all knowledge of it. This is equal to sine of B over the little b. And my unknown is this one. I know this, I know that, I know this, and this is really my unknown. So I'm going to create a situation where I have to solve for the b. So now let us write this down in this problem. So it means that sine of 60, I write it, divided by c, divided by 5, it's equal to the sine of b, which is 70, divided by little b. And now I need to solve for b. So that's really how it works. So the law of sine, so if I know an angle, I know the side opposite to it, will help me to find one ratio. So if I knew that, I can use it to find the other ideas. All right, so the question is how to solve for b.
Excuse me?
Yes.
On the triangle, there are two side C's.
Oh, do I? I'm very sorry and thank you very much. Fixed it, right? Did you get what I fixed?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, every time I do something wrong, you guys let me know. All right, so now how do you want me to solve for B? Anybody have any idea? So sine 60, I know it. Right, 5, I know, 5. Sine 70, I know, so I have one unknown. So I'm gonna always put my unknown in red. All right, so one idea which is easy, which is I think is the best, is cross multiply. Okay, cross multiply. What do I mean by that? It means I will say this times that is equal to this times this. That's usually the easiest way to do it. It means 6, which is my unknown, times the sine of 60 is equal to 5 times the sine of 70. Okay, so I'm cross multiply. So now I need, oh my goodness. Okay, b times the sine of 60. Now I need to solve for b. So b is going to be, so we're going to divide now. So we cross multiply, then we divide by sine of 60. So it's a little bit of math, but not hard math. So we divide by that. So I will get 5 times the sine of 70 divided by the sine of 60. And now the rest is actually simple. Now I find my b. So we set up, we cross multiply because that's really easy, and then we figure out my b. And now the rest is really a calculator. So it's 5 times the sine of 70, and this is where I need my calculator for, sine of 70. So everything is in degree because it makes sense. Otherwise, you will be very confused. So I am, to answer Samantha's, I will round to 3 decimal places. So divided by sine of 60. 0.866. So finally, I will get b equal . Okay, now I use my calculator. So it's 5 times 0.939 divided by 0.866, which is I'm getting 5.421. Okay, and that will give me my b. Now, before I move on, let me make a small comment about use a calculator. If you want this answer to be really correct, and I think probably some of you are doing it, the easiest way to enter is 5 times sine. So that's the easiest way to enter that. Sine 70 divided by sine 60. That's the most accurate way to enter it. Okay, which is going to give me 5.425, which is actually more accurate than the answer I gave you because there is no rounding in this scenario. Okay, so for me, the best way to do it is take 5, okay, times the sine of 70, divide by the sine of 60. That's how you get the most accurate answer in your problem. Okay, part 2. So now this is my triangle. This is my triangle. We found the b, 5.421. Now I want you to find a. Use the law of sine again to find a. Okay, please get going and then put your answer on chat. So I will draw my triangle here. So that's a 50. So it's a little bit less. So that's my 50 here. That's my 5. And that's my 70. So that's my 70. That's my 50. And this is my 60. And I want a. And I want you to use the law of sine correctly and proceed. And see what you get. While I do it by my, but while I do it with you. All right, please, as usual, I want the answers on chat to see what you guys are doing. Okay, I'm having one first answer. Anybody else? try to do it as accurate as possible by entering everything into your calculator. Try to do it as accurate as possible. So I have one answer. Let's see if anybody can do it. Anybody? Okay, I'm having another answer. Okay, all right, so I'm having two different answers. We have to pick, two different answers. We have to pick the better one. So I'm gonna pick one student and I'm gonna ask them what's the setup and see how to proceed. So as I said, I pick student arbitrarily and please cooperate. So let's say Anthony Vasquez, are you with me? Anthony, are you with me? Okay, I guess not. Caleb Stage, are you with me? Right, I move on if the student is not with me, but I usually mark it down. Okay, and let's see. I know Jaden is with me. Okay, Jaden, because we don't have a lot of time, what's your setup?
Okay, so I have sine. I set it up sine A over sine and over little a equals to sine B over little b.
Okay, it's correct. But what will be, do you think is better?
Probably to sine C.
Because?
They're directly opposite. Or
No,
well,
no. That's not it. Because if you've done a mistake in B, you don't have to deal with it in C. Because this is the given to you. Not because any other reason. It's a very stupid reason. It's because you know C is absolutely that. So we're going to put sine C just because of that, not because what you said is wrong. What you said is absolutely correct. You understand? Okay. I'm going to do the setup because I know this and I know this without any hesitation. That's what's given to me. And now we proceed. So it means the sine of my A is 50 over my unknown. So as you realize, to use the law of sine, I need three things to know. So I need an angle, the side opposite to it, at least that. And then either I know one angle, I don't know the side, or eventually I know the side, I don't know the angle. That's how it's going to work. So this is equal to the sine of 60 divided by 5. Okay, and then Jaden, help us. What would we do after that? A is my unknown. How are we going to solve for A?
would you cross multiply?
Yeah, because it's much easier. Cross multiply. And what do we get when you cross multiply?
3.830.
Oh, I don't want formula. I want what you get. You get A times
60.
the sine of 60. That's really what I just wanted to see it, equal to 5 times, so A times that, 5 times the sine of 50. Okay, and then I need to solve for A. What do I do to solve for A? I divide both sides by sine of 60. And then the rest would be basically easy. So it's 5, the sine of 50 divided by the sine of 60. And then I will use my calculator, and I'm going to use it in front of you. So the easiest way or the most accurate way is to do it like that. It's the 5. So I plug in the 5. I multiplied it by the sine of 50. Whatever I get, I'm going to divide it by the sine of 60. That's actually the most accurate way. So I'm getting 4.227. If I want to 4.227, if I want to round it to 3 decimal places, I'm going to get 4.23, which is what your classmate actually got. So it's going to be 4.423 to 3 decimal places. And that's exactly what a lot of you did get. All right, so that's really the idea. Thanks, Anthony. So that's really how we're going to do those problems. Okay, next time we're going to work more with those. But for now, I want you to get both sine and cosine. Please do the homework. I know you're not doing it. I'm urging you to do the homework. Otherwise, it will be jumble mumble in your head. That's really what will happen. All right? Okay, any questions before we go? Okay, the class is dismissed. If any student has any question, please, you can